spring, we launched 4 games, 2 of them on the Switch, 4 of them on PlayStation, and we said we're going to learn. We said we'd watch. I think at Showcase, I might have said, from our learning, we're going to do more. What I see when I look is our franchises are getting stronger. Our Xbox console players are as high this year as they've ever been.
Amazing. The title of this video asks, why isn't there an Xbox Series Pro? And the short answer is simple, the Xbox Series S, but there's a lot more to this story, so let's break it down. When Microsoft launched the Xbox Series X and Series S, it made a bold decision. The Series S, marketed as the budget-friendly next-gen console, is actually weaker in some respects than the Xbox One X, the high-end model from the previous generation. This decision was driven by a strategy. If it works on Series X, it should work on Series S. But this approach has led to significant issues, especially when it comes to game development and optimization. I'm still baffled by this strategy because, let's be honest, I'm not an expert, and neither are most YouTubers, but Microsoft literally has engineers working for them. So how could they not foresee, just 2 years into the future, that the simple 4K and Series S 1080p strategy wouldn't hold up? Let's get into some very important details. As discussed earlier, the Series S has significantly less power than the Series X, with only 4 teraflops of GPU power compared to the Series X's 12 teraflops. Developers often struggle to optimize games for both consoles without compromising quality on the Series S. This is evident in several titles where the Series S version suffers from lower resolution, reduced texture quality, and less stable frame rates. As seen with games like Baldur's Gate 3 and Hogwarts Legacy, Microsoft's engineers had to step in to optimize the game, and even then, the Series S version ended up running at a mere 720p resolution. The Series X also suffered, as developers had to ensure parity between the two consoles, a directive from Phil Spencer himself. And what about Black Myth, another game delayed because of difficulties optimizing it for the Series S? In fact, there's another game that was outright canceled because the developers couldn't make it work across the Series S, Series X, and PS5. They simply gave up on the Xbox version. This is why the PS5 Pro is moving forward. Sony doesn't have the same limitations. Meanwhile, the only mid-gen option Xbox is offering is a 2TB version of the Series X for $600, which adds storage but nothing else. Callisto Protocol. On the Series S, Callisto Protocol runs at a lower resolution with noticeable graphical downgrades, including reduced texture quality and lighting effects. The Series S version struggles to maintain consistent frame rates, impacting the overall gameplay experience. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This title faced performance, frame rates, and downgraded graphics compared to the Series X. Despite updates, the game struggles to deliver the same level of detail and smoothness seen on more powerful consoles. Hogwarts Legacy was forced to compromise on both resolution and graphical fidelity. The game often drops to 720p during intense, and the reduced texture quality is noticeable, especially in comparison to the Series X and PS5 versions. The main issue lies in the fact that the Series S, while built on the same architecture as the Series X, simply doesn't have the same power. Developers are forced to make significant compromises to get games running on the Series S, which often results in lower resolutions, reduced frame rates, and downgraded graphics. This need for parity between the Series X and Series S versions of games means that even the more powerful Series X is sometimes held back, as developers aim to ensure that both consoles can run the same game without any major differences in gameplay experience. Introducing a Series X Pro would mean developers need to account for 3 different hardware configurations, increasing development time and cost. The problem becomes even more complex when considering that the Series S and X already have such significant differences in performance. Adding another layer with a Pro version would only exacerbate these challenges. That's why the PS5 Pro is happening, and the only mid-gen option Xbox has is the 2TB version of the Series X, which costs $600 and doesn't offer anything new besides extra storage. Now picture this. The PS5 Pro comes out in November at $600, and developers are already optimizing games for it. What do you think will happen? I'm not trying to rage bait here, but it's going to be a complete massacre for the Xbox hardware brand. Phil Spencer knows this, which is why he's admitted that Microsoft has lost this generation of the console war. That's why Xbox is going multi-platform, releasing games on PS5 too. It's the only way they can stay afloat before Microsoft decides to pull the plug on Xbox and revert to being a pure software company. The Series S, while a nice idea on paper, is proving to be the Achilles heel of this generation. It's dragging down the Xbox brand, and unfortunately, it could very well lead to its downfall. This isn't drama. These are facts, and they can all be verified. Microsoft could have been far more successful if they'd invested that $70 billion into strengthening their own brand and studios, instead of buying up third-party developers. In 20 years, this might be studied as one of the biggest business missteps in Microsoft's history. The announcement that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will be coming to PS5 next spring is a sign that Microsoft's multi-platform strategy is evolving. While it's unlikely that titles like Starfield will appear on PlayStation anytime soon, the possibility remains open for other big titles to follow. Spencer's strategy is clear. If expanding to other platforms doesn't harm the Xbox brand and can grow Microsoft's business, the company is willing to explore that path. In February 2024, during an Xbox podcast, Phil Spencer sparked discussions about the future of Xbox exclusivity. Spencer mentioned that the upcoming Indiana Jones game wouldn't be part of the initial batch of Xbox games making the leap to other platforms, particularly the PlayStation 5. However, his statements have since been taken out of context by some fans, leading to confusion about Xbox's exclusivity strategy and its growing inclination toward multi-platform releases. During the podcast, Spencer clarified that Xbox planned to release 4 specific games on other platforms, not including major titles like Starfield or Indiana Jones and The Great Circle. The games that made the jump were Grounded, Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, and Sea of Thieves. Phil Spencer's comments indicate a shift in Microsoft's strategy, where the company is more open to leveraging other platforms to grow its business without compromising the value of the Xbox brand. This approach is a stark contrast to Sony's strategy, where PlayStation exclusives remain a cornerstone of its business model. For years, Sony has built a reputation for delivering blockbuster titles that are only available on its platforms, fostering a sense of loyalty among its fanbase. The company is less focused on console sales and more on building a broad ecosystem that spans multiple devices.
So I look at it and I say, okay, our player numbers are going up for the console platform. Our franchises are as strong as they've ever been. And we run a business. Like, it's definitely true inside of Microsoft. The bar is high for us in terms of the delivery that we have to give back to the company, because we get a level of support from the company that's just amazing in what we're able to go do.
One major issue for Xbox is the diminishing need to buy the console when most of its exclusives are available on PC. Meanwhile, PlayStation 5 maintains strong console-exclusive titles, keeping its hardware in demand. Both Sony and Microsoft face challenges, but they differ significantly. Microsoft is struggling with the sustainability of its Game Pass model and poor leadership decisions, like closing Hi-Fi Rush's Tango Gameworks. Sony, on the other hand, deals with ballooning game budgets and limited reach on its consoles. Recently, Sony has also faced issues with PSN linking as it tries to expand its live service games to PC.
But that's fun. A lot of great games, a lot of kind of new things and things that have been around for a while. Oh, and I'm here, so I'm not doing it. My buggy in Starfield. I'm looking forward. I've been asking for Todd for vehicles. Come on, Todd. I want vehicles in this game. I'm tired of walking around this planet. And I thought the trailer for that looked really good last night, so I can't wait to drive around planets and Starfield.
Wonderful. And talking of driving, I'm personally, if anyone's wondering, super excited. Forza Horizon.
I think it's over for Xbox in terms of hardware. Microsoft knew this even before they launched the Series line, so don't be surprised if Xbox becomes more of a service than a hardware seller. And I think Microsoft did the math. Why focus on selling all the console hardware when we can sell all the games on PC? This strategic pivot makes sense for Microsoft. By targeting PC gamers, they tap into a broader market without the need for extensive hardware investments. Plus, with the popularity of gaming PCs, many players prefer the flexibility and power that a PC offers over a console. Microsoft's Game Pass and cloud gaming initiatives are designed to cater to this growing audience. And I'm sorry Xbox failed in such a horrible manner. Why am I sorry? When there's a monopoly and Sony has all the power, they become less consumer-friendly. So don't start partying yet. Sure, the PlayStation 5 outselling the Xbox Series at a ratio of 2.1 may sound like a victory for Sony fans, but it spells trouble for the gaming community as a whole. Without serious competition, Sony has less incentive to keep prices reasonable, innovate rapidly, or listen to consumer feedback. We've seen this play out in other industries. When one company dominates, customer choices dwindle, and corporate decisions start favoring profits over players. So what's the point of buying an Xbox today? The suggestion floating around is that Microsoft should sell the Xbox division, maybe to Nintendo. I mean, it sounds wild, but there's some logic to it.